Good evening once again, and welcome to another edition of Caribbean Feedback. My name is Curtis Henry. Sitting in with us this evening, we have two of our regular panelists. We can expect our regular latecomer to pop in at any minute, but I'm not seeing Mr. Mark Chase with us this evening. Speak about the devil. You talk about the devil, and he shows up. This is why I keep saying, people, be careful what you wish for in life. The minute I called the man name, boom, there he was.
Yeah.
You called for the devil, you found him.
I have to be careful calling your name from now on.
That's it.
You might show up in my house.
Uh-oh.
Well, as you realize, we just started, and we're going to get right into it. Good night, Miss Williams. Thank you so much for joining us. Miss Foster, excuse me, where did that name come from? Miss Forrester, could you please introduce yourself, tell the people who you are and what it is you do?
Hi, everyone. My name is Karin Forrester. I represent BantuKreations. BantuKreations offers beautifully made, African-inspired, lightweight, handcrafted, one-of-a-kind earrings in wonderful shapes, shades, colors, and sizes. Don't let the large sizes fool you. They're extremely lightweight earrings. BantuKreations can be found on IG and on Facebook as BantuKreations. That's BantuKreations with a K. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Miss Forrester. Mr. Mark Chase, you came in late, but we're going to let you go ahead. Introduce yourself, sir.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Chase. Chase Audit Services is who I represent. This is, we provide accounting and auditing services for both commercial and government entities. Easily reached. Back to you, Mr. Henry.
Thank you, sir. Understand, you don't get any special privileges coming in here late, okay? Our brown skin, blue eye boy.
You know what?
No special.
You know, I need my glasses because I want to see you good. You understand? I want to see you good.
Our brown skin, blue eye boy. Welcome, welcome. Good to have you this evening, sir. Glad to see you bouncing. You in good spirits. You in good health. That makes me smile. That makes me smile. Mr. Samuel Archer.
How you doing?
Talk to us, sir. Talk to us.
Well, I hail from the Muzilog.com publication where music, entertainment, and culture lives. And I am the recent author of the book Hybrid Executive, where we want to encourage folks to get their game up. The book is now available on all the ebook platforms. So you can actually work towards getting that. And, you can reach out to me directly. And a little bit under the weather tonight. I lost someone close to me. Can't really talk about it yet. So, we just want to if you lost someone, sending out condolences to you as well. But the show must go on. So I'm going to put on my game face tonight and be the best that we can be. And tonight we have to do our episode thing. So I'm looking forward to seeing how many people know what episode tonight is. So let's see if we can work it in. 10, 20, 30, 5.
We're bad, man.
35.
35, man. You know,
Episode 35. Episode 35. Once
I
again,
remember when I was 35
I
years.
say it shows what happens when you're consistent in your efforts, when you keep putting one foot in front of the other, and we just keep things moving. Eventually, you would get somewhere further than where you began. You may not see the end of the road, but keep looking at that light at the end of the tunnel and keep pushing forward. It seems like only yesterday we started this show, and here we are, 35 episodes in, and I'm looking forward to episode 135. Sitting in with us this evening, we have a special guest, Miss Lisa Duke. Lisa, welcome to the family. Could you kindly introduce yourself? Tell us who you are and what it is you do.
Thank you for having me. Hi, I'm Lisa Duke, and I am a realtor. I also am a credit consultant, doing credit repair as needed, where needed. And I work with residential real estate, investment properties, some rentals at times, but mostly, you know, residential and investment properties.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for joining us. Good evening, Yvonne Emmanuel, Sherry Ann Sylvester. Pleasant good night to you also. Thank you for joining us. Denise Williams. Wait, didn't you say good night already? Okay. Good night again.
Just wanted to chime in that she knew that it's episode
35. Okay. Good night. Good night. Thank you so much for joining us. We didn't see Lucy this evening, did she?
No,
Did
not
she
yet.
enter the comments? Not yet, or maybe okay.
She's probably having
right.
a drink before she comes in, you know.
Once again, my name is Curtis Henry, and I am the producer and host of Caribbean Chatt. Caribbean Chatt provides a platform where we celebrate the history and culture of Caribbean people in entertainment, the arts, politics, sports, education, and economics. We explore the many profound contributions they have made to society. Look us up on YouTube at Caribbean Chatt. That's chat with 2 T's. Caribbean Chatt, CHATT. Or you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. I urge you, go to YouTube, smash that subscribe button, leave us a comment, tell us what you think about the program. And also, I'd like for you to go there and subscribe to Caribbean Feedback. Let us know what's on your mind. Let us know how we can improve the show. Let us know what subject matters you would like to hear discussed here. And we'll see what we can do, put our best foot forward to bringing you the content that you need to hear. This evening, I want you all to bear with me. Bear with me on this introduction because I want to tie it all in. This is America. This is America. What they often describe as the land of the free and home of the brave, the land of opportunity where everybody leave. A lot of people and come here. People jumping the borders, people migrating and not going back. This is America. Let me take you back. The year 1619 marked the beginning of a subjugation that left millions of enslaved Africans in chains. The arrival in Jamestown, Virginia is often referred to as the beginning of U.S. slavery. On December 6, 1865, the 13th Amendment was ratified after the state of Georgia approved the amendment as it was proposed to the states by Congress. This act officially ended the practice of slavery in the U.S., which was practiced for over 400 years. And guess what, people? We survived that. Then America made a new set of laws known as Jim Crow, which were passed in the southern states, and that legalized and imposed racial discrimination and segregation against Black people for over 75 years. We survived that. Let's fast forward to 2021. Some might say that slavery still exists. Today, in America, modern slaves are not in chains. They are in debt. The average American credit card balance, drum roll please, is anywhere from $5,000 to $6,200. The average American household with a net worth of $25,000 to $100,000, that basically covers some of us here, has approximately $6,800 of credit card debt. Some experts say that debt is good, but simultaneously there are watchdog agencies that pay very close attention to each and every one of us. They look at the frequency and manner in which you pay your bills. And all of this is recorded, and it affects something called your FICO score and your credit score. Lisa, please tell me who the hell is this guy called FICO and how I could become good friends with him so that he could give me a good rating.
You can get out of debt for one thing. Well, there are different types of FICO scores. So depending on what type of loan you're qualifying or trying to qualify for, they'll look at different scores to give you an approval based on what they're seeing on your report. And your scores are pretty much, it combines between the type of debt you have or your payment history. Different things go into what makes up your score. So the more debt that you're in is the worse situation you tend to find yourself when you want to purchase something or you want to apply for any kind of credit or any, loans or anything else. So the key is to get yourself out of the hole that you might be in.
So am I accurate in saying that high debt give you a low score and low debt give you a high score? Am I correct?
That is correct. Yes. Yes.
So panelists, feel free to join in with your questions or comments as we go along. But what should I do if I have, let's say, some kind of account that's in collections? You get these letters and people telling you that you owe this money. Some people you don't even know. You have no agreement with them, but you're getting letters from them telling you that you owe somebody else and you should pay them. What should I do if I have some kind of account in collections?
Well, if you don't know the creditor, you can do some investigation yourself to see where they got that information from. You want to reach out to the credit bureau. If it's one credit bureau or all of the credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, see where they got this information from. If you think it's fraudulent, then you can let them know that. You can dispute that particular charge. And what they will do is investigate it and will update you within a 30-day time frame, letting you know what the results were for that.
Yep, but what if you know that you owe the money? That's what I'm saying. But
if you know that you owe it, you should pay it. But a lot of times, people tend to use or fraudulently use your credit without your knowledge. And maybe you want to go and get that nice car, that you might have been looking at, and only to find out there's something or more than one thing on your credit that's going to prevent you from being approved. But if you do know that it's yours, you have to decide if it's in collections already, it's already negative on your report. So if your intention is to clear it up, you want to, number one, paying it off is still going to make it remain negative on your report. It's not going to change it. They're not going to remove it because the collections agencies make money with reporting those negative items on your report. So the key would be to have it removed. Now, that in itself is a task. Some people may want to do it themselves. And if they are able to continue to do that on their own, can get it removed. But for those who either don't have the time or the patience, because sometimes it's a tedious task, that's where I would come in to first know what their goals are. What is your ideal score? Where do you want to be? What are you trying to do? And that's where I can one-on-one talk to them and see how I can best help them to get rid of that collection.
This is where you come in, you say?
Yes.
That part?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, part of it. Yes.
Let me get it straight. So we would want you to come in at this point.
Well, typically that's where I tend to talk to people, and when I hear their story, that's where they'll say, "Hey, this is what I have. This is my situation. How can you help me?" And that's where I need to know what your goals are, because not everyone who says that they are ready to clear up their credit is always serious. I think what a lot of times we tend to forget is it took you a period of time to get to where you are. It didn't happen overnight. You got in debt over a period of time, years, months, however. So it's going to take some time to get it removed. And we have to be patient. So once I can talk to that person, know their goals, then I can kind of give tips and ideas on, okay, this is the game plan. This is what we're going to do. And it may take some time, but you have to be patient. You have to have that end goal in sight.
Okay.
So you're telling me I can't just sit back and pretend that it doesn't exist? Just hide?
Yes, you can do that.
And no, I'm trying to understand this. I borrow money from this business or this particular place, or I owe somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And you're telling me I can't just lay low for a while and just wish that it would just go away?
But what about other goals that you may have? Like, do you want a house? Do you want to live? Because in America, credit runs the show all day, every day. So yes, you can hide. You can not answer the phone. You can, whichever way you want to hide. Yes, you can, but it's not going to help your situation any. You have to want to figure out a way to get out of that collection item being on your report.
Your FICO score can be mitigated by equity. Let's say you have no debt at all. You have no debt, and you owe a doctor's office $45 and somebody else $100. Okay, yet everything you have other than that you own. You don't have credit card debt. You own your car. You own your house. Now you're in a better position to fight than if you have no equity in anything.
That's correct.
You just owe everybody. You got a loan with this one. You got your car loan. You even got your insurance, finance. Like most of us. Equity is very important in credit because it makes it easier to fight.
Yes.
It makes it much easier to fight.
Yes, it does.
So this is where we change our names to Owen?
I'm going to leave that with you, sir.
You're Owen, everybody. All right.
I have a question to Miss Lisa. Where do you think we should start educating our children to learn how to manage credit in this country? Because literally there's nothing available from elementary through high school, nothing. They get to college and they might get that first credit card and lose their minds.
Very true. I believe education starts at home. We cannot always rely on anyone else to teach our children how to do anything in life. You have to set the example at home. For me, I can say personally from myself, I have 2 kids, and what I did with them, I think it was middle school probably, I got a secured card with a $200 limit. And, I got one in their name as well. And I explained why I was doing it, not for you to just purchase any toy in the store or whatever you want. No, I explained to them that later on, after high school, after college, if you do decide to get an apartment, you would have, because, it's all explaining what credit is, why you need credit, how far it can take you. And if you owe too much, how it's going to hurt you as well. even if you have a decent paying job. You can make six figures and still be in so much debt that you can't see yourself, surviving. So starting at a young age, when you have to judge as a parent, the maturity of your child to know how much they can understand at what age. And that's where you want to teach them how to manage money, open up a bank account, and things like that, where as they grow and they see your example as a parent, they can understand it better. I also had my kids, they knew what how much the bills were, the light bill, the water bill, things like that. I was very open to teach all those things and explain, you have to pay it. If it doesn't get paid, it gets cut off. Things like that are, to me, the foundation of what their understanding will become as they grow. So by doing so, for example, some people get out of, whether it's high school, college, they need someone to co-sign for an apartment. If they have no credit, that's sometimes just as bad as having bad credit. So you want to be able to teach them, give them those tools young enough so that they can understand.
The reason I suggested that it should be done in school is because every household is so very different.
Yes.
And you cannot teach what you have not learned. And a lot of adults have not learned. Mm-hmm. So, that's why I think it really does need to be in the school system and, supported in the home or, reinforced.
Yes. Yes.
Allow me to bring Dr. Judith into this conversation. Welcome. As you stumbled in late, please introduce yourself and join into the conversation any way you see fit.
I'm Judith Barnes. I'm a mental health therapist, an author, and whatever else God wants me to be. I would like to make a comment about what has been said, what I just heard. I believe it starts in the home and reinforced in the school. That should be our model, in my estimation. And when my son was about 15, someone advised me about going to a bank and opening an account with $300. And so he started using it. It was a credit card. So he would use his own money and monthly pay the bills. And so it became par for the course. That's just how he functioned. So every time he bought something, he bought a computer for school, he used the card. He paid it off. And so now he's still functioning on that level. Now he's into investments. He's doing his own investments online and stuff. So I think, I work in a school. I work as a paraprofessional, and I don't work with the general population. But when I get a chance to talk to any of them, it is something that I say to them over and over again. You've got to understand, saving $5 is better than saving nothing at all. We have the mentality that if we don't save 200 or 500, it's nothing. Well, I beg to differ. $10 a week can make a big difference if you do it every week.
So I have a quick question.
I want to interject. Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah, quick question, Lisa. Mm-hmm. When you said you got the secured card, you got the secured card in their name?
Yes.
And the kids? And yes. What was the as how Dr. Judith explained, her son and so on. So what was the progress with your kids in terms of learning about the process of it?
Well, I did one through, for example, I did one through the bank, and I did another through Capital One. And when we would use it, or when they would use it, I would explain that we're not going to go over a certain amount. We're going to keep this under a certain percentage, because then on the other hand, you're explaining why, if you overspend, how that will hurt. So by doing that, they know we're going to the store and we have a set amount that we're spending. We're not going past this amount. And again, when they would get money for allowance, okay, when the bill comes, we sit down and make sure everything was accurate that we used it for. And then, we'll I would split half. Sometimes I pay all, doesn't matter. But, just teaching them how to pay it off. You use the set amount, you pay it off. Do it again next month, you pay it off. And so I think when my oldest got to the age that she can monitor her credit online on the free website, she was excited to see her scores every month because she has her own credit card. But something else she learned to do is use it, pay it off. She would probably sometimes do it right there at the register. Use the card to get the points on the card, and then turn around, use her debit card, and pay it right off. So she has that she learned from a young age, but she's also earning, because she has the card, a few extra dollars. So the concept, they got it,
She has the awareness of the financial process. Okay.
I was going to interject.
Sorry, go ahead, Mark. Go ahead.
I think we need to put some historical perspective on this, and not just focusing on your credit, good or bad, is wonderful. Historically, we people of color were not given credit, and when we were, it was at a higher interest rate than our fairer skinned brethren. Okay, in fact, she mentioned Capital One is in court for that right now. They are being sued for that right now, where the little light boy get 8% on his credit card, and I got 24.99. You see? Okay, so historically, using the historical perspective on this, we couldn't get credit for a house because we get red line. You can only live in certain neighborhoods, and God forbid if you tried to move out, because the interest rate went from 5.5% to 90%, or you pay cash. The way we as Caribbean people have gotten around that is to create our own banks. Susu. All right. You want to buy a house? Join us. Before you know it, everybody got a house. All of them houses out in Crown House in Brooklyn, including my own family's house, was purchased that way.
Susu.
Through a susu. Okay. There is wisdom in that. And I'm going to give you two terms. All of my brothers and sisters out there, my cousins, I see them watching. All right. Return on investment and return on equity. The investment is the money you borrow to get what you want. The equity is how much you don't owe or what it's worth. So the idea is don't buy stupid. Okay? Buy what is going to increase in value. All right? Credit card debt, stupid. House debt, good. You pray. You hope that it doesn't fall. Return on equity. Return on investment is great if you can get it. It's wonderful, but the return on equity, not owing, not having the monkey on your back of a great deal of debt, is ideal.
Yes.
Mark, some people talk about credit cards, a lot having credit cards and you having access to this money. I've heard people talk about that, how they use credit card to leverage, and Spike Lee did it to make his first film. Yes. Credit cards, and he, draw that money and take care of something. People do it even for home purchases now, or to open a business. Is it a good thing to have many credit cards in your name? I also want Lisa to chime in on this too.
I'm gonna let Lisa answer this one, because I one-time bets, you either get lucky or you roll craps. And you roll that 7, oh baby. If Spike Lee's She's Gotta Have It would have been a hit, he would have had it. Okay, he would have had it because I know the brother, and he ran up almost $200,000 in credit card debt. Okay,
Lisa, tell us.
He could say
have many credit cards.
That might be a personal answer for some people.
Go ahead, Lisa, run like me. Run like me. She's debating that like me. Run.
Oh my goodness. The thing about it is not necessarily the number of cards you have, but how much debt it has you in. Because that's where I think a lot of people kind of they get lost in it, where they look at all the cards they have and they owe all this money. And that's where the stress comes in. Frustration, embarrassment for some. Mm-hmm. So I think for me, I can say I don't want to have or be in debt for 20 cards. That's just, it doesn't make sense. So there's some people that are okay with having a ton of cards, and there's some that they don't like it. So a lot of times I'd say it's a personal preference as to how many you may have, but it's what you're doing with them. Yeah. Some of them you may have for so long, it may hurt your credit to close it, because now you're closing something that you've took the time to keep on your credit. So if you close it, then you're hurting yourself. So sometimes it's better to maybe use it once in a while just to show that usage, but don't close it, because, depending on what your goal is that you're trying to do, it wouldn't make sense to close it.
So what if you have like 3 cards, right, guys? And so you're using one as your main card, and then you use one card to pay that other one off, and then you use the next one to pay the other one off to buy yourself. You're kind of doing the flip vibe, You're sort of like you're flipping it.
Do you see me sweating, Sam?
What's that old saying? Borrowing from Peter to pay Paul does not work.
I was about to say that. You're rubbing Peter to pay Paul.
Borrowing from Peter to pay Paul does not work.
No,
I feel my pressure going up.
Andrea, the chat, she says the borrower becomes a slave to the lender. Earlier on, Judith mentioned, no, not Judith, the other young lady over there, the one to my left. Miss Forrester, yes, you mentioned something about the education in the schools. Andrea in the chat mentioned that the school should be teaching money management instead of sex education.
Well, I don't know if instead of, because there are a lot of households. Dr. Judith and Miss Duke are very different households. There are so many households where there is absolutely no structure. It's really scary. Some I've witnessed myself, and there will not be any education towards finances or otherwise unless it's done in a structured setting in schools. Yeah. There are a lot of households where they get nothing like that.
What state are you joining us from, Lisa?
I'm in Georgia.
You in Georgia. You also, Dr. Judith. Is there anything in place, as far as you all know, in the entire state of Georgia where they teach financial literacy on a high school level?
Not to my knowledge. I have a high school senior right now, and they teach everything else but financial literacy.
Not in my high school.
You're not no high school senior. You look like you in high school.
Well, thank you. That's my youngest, so.
Go ahead, Dr. Judith.
No, I said not in my high school either. Listen, before I say anything else, I wanted to, very seriously, I want to apologize. I being late. This has been going on a while. I think I've been on time maybe twice. Listen. It is required of me to say it. So I apologize. Curtis, Dr. Henry, you can hold on your head all you want.
Is it required of me to listen to it? You don't.
Excuse me. What did you say?
Is it required for me to listen to it? You can go
ahead.
Well,
listen, you don't have to listen. I'm trying to do this out of respect. So if you don't want to be respectful and listen, that's your problem, isn't it? So seriously, I thought about it as I sat down. I have a bunch of stuff. Everybody has a lot of things to do, but I have a bunch of stuff, and I just try to get so much done. And I had to do a painting. I felt I had to do it before I came on, so I messed up. And I promised that I will do better from the next program on, because it's
Let me
something.
accept your apology.
It is some. Sorry, Mr. Chase. Let me finish, sir.
You look good enough that you can get away with it. So let it be.
I don't want to get away with it.
When you look that good, baby, you're past.
I don't want to get away with it. It's a form of disrespect. So I promise to, after tonight, no more. I had to say that. But anyway, the whole idea, this whole thing about, in the schools, I think the schools have lost interest in these, somebody was talking to me the other day. It was a time when we had home economics in the school, and we had all this other stuff. And I think the school system, the one that I work, their emphasis is sports, getting these young Black kids to play sports. And I made a mistake one day. I love the principal, but I made a mistake one day, and I said, excuse me, my concern is that these guys who are going to have basketball scholarships and football scholarships, can you address the issue for them to have somebody to mentor them? I mean, seriously, teaching them about finances. They're going to be making a lot of money. We need somebody to talk to them about the reality of money, that you don't love money, you love what money does for you, and some basic things about money. And he kind of brushed me off, and I said, also mental health wise, that's why a lot of them end up on drugs. It's too much too soon, too quick. And so they fall, and they get messed up. So I asked him, is there a program where you can address these issues so that these young people do not lose their minds with these $1 million scholarships or $10 million scholarships and nothing, no core value, no idea, their own value as a human being. And so it was met with like, listen, we try to have the school, we are the best in the county, and we want that rating to continue. Even if we lose these boys mentally, physically. So, but I think everything starts at home, even if it's only one parent. I remember years ago, they told me that my son, they wanted to put him on special ed, and they were going to put him on Ritalin. And I said, I'll tell you what you do. Keep the Ritalin. I already have gray here. I'll have some more. He's not going to get Ritalin. He's not going to have any of that stuff. And the bottom line is that he graduated college in December 2019. And he never had to have an IEP, what they call, this plan for special ed needs and stuff. He never took Ritalin. So a lot of it has to do with a decision by parents. Some children are being raised by grandmothers. The more I'm in the system, I'm realizing some of them are being raised by their aunts. So it's a lot of stuff going on. Like Ms. Forrester said, we have different households, and we have to be realistic. But we are our own worst enemy. And I try to get people to be interested in uniforms for our children. If children started wearing uniform, a lot of the fighting and killing and stuff going on would stop. You know why? Ain't no difference in what you're wearing from what I'm wearing. A lot of that, but we're so caught up in certain social things. So, it's.
I can't speak.
Let me bring this back. Hold on, Mark. Let me bring this back to the credit repair, which is why we're here this evening.
Right.
I want to ask Lisa something. You spoke earlier on about looking at stuff on your credit report. I've tried looking at mine one time, and trust me, a lot of the stuff on there I simply do not understand. So let me ask you something. What if I pull my credit report and there's something in there that I don't understand, but it's only a small debt for $20 or something? Should I just go ahead and pay that off to get it off of the report?
If you pay it off, chances are that it's still going to be there. The only time, very few times, you will get a response from that company where they will agree to remove it. And if they say so, get it in writing, get everything in writing, because they'll tell you anything over the phone. You'll call 10 times and speak to 10 different people that will tell you 10 different things. So chances are, if you pay that $20, they will tell you thank you for that payment, but you will still see it next month when your credit updates. It will still be there. It'll just show paid in full, but it has already been negative on your report, so you'll see it there still the following month.
And what are the chances of it not even belonging to you?
If you think it's not yours, then you can dispute it.
Right.
That's where you will have to write a letter to each credit bureau, if it's on all three of them, letting them know that that doesn't belong to you. And you can also dispute it online, but I'm old school. I want that paper trail. So I mail it just so that I have a copy of when it was sent, when they got it, that type of thing. So you could, if it's just one, you can do that yourself.
So if the creditor doesn't want to, if the merchant or whoever gave the loan or whatever, if they don't want to take it off, I mean, is that their way of either being lackadaisical, or are they trying to get back at you in some form of the other, where they leave these negative things on your report? What's really going on there?
A lot of times, if they leave it on there, it's because there are certain laws that are in place to kind of help you. There's certain words that you use when you send a dispute to get items removed, that sometimes you could just write a regular letter. A few times they'll take it off, because if they see that you're persistent, and that's the thing, that they don't want to see the same thing over and over and over, they'll remove it. But leaving it on, they'll do that because, they may try to sell it to another collections agency to try and come after you again another time. And they'll call and harass you the same way they did the first time to get that payment. So they make money that way by leaving it on there. It's kind of to get something at you, but necessarily it's more so that they make money on it by leaving it there and reporting it with another agency.
Oh, so they actually scamming you, and you continuously paying for something,
Pretty much.
interest on a loan or something that you ignored.
Pretty much.
And everyone else is making money.
Yes.
Yeah, well, and the reason why I asked that is that I when I was buying my first home, there was something that I took care of, and it was never taken off. So to do the closing, I still had to pay that again at the closing. And try. I mean, it was a funny situation to that followed that, but because the lawyer said, okay, give him a check and he'll put it there. Next thing you know, the check was deposited, and it was like, okay, well, when this was done, it was paid on a where they give you like a little deal, and you paid off this thing. But in their heads, because it was an arrangement or it was some sort of a deal that you paid with, they still left the information on there. So now you're paying on top of that,
exactly,
to close on the house, and then now they're trying to cash that money on top of it.
Sam, I'm a senior citizen and my blood pressure going up.
Oh, okay.
You're raising my pressure.
We get off.
My God.
We get off that now. We get enough. But my point is, I was just wondering if the company was being lackadaisical, or if they were just trying to be stupid, to sort of keep a hold on you. And you're trying to move on with your life. You're like, okay, you gave a settlement, you paid a settlement, let's keep it moving. Why are you still having this stuff here? And I'm talking about old stuff that when you go to your closing or whatever it is you have to deal with, this thing is popping up on your on your report.
They will leave it there because they will resell it to come after you again. So they'll continue to leave it there Their concern is not to allow you to move on. They don't want you to do that, because the more positive you can do for yourself, they're the ones that are losing. So they want to have as much negative items on your report as they can, because they can resell that to another company to come at you again.
Many years ago, I bought a car through GM Credit. Well, GM Credit started to falter. I had paid the car off, but they said I had one more payment, and they sold it to a company named Santander.
Very familiar.
Yes. Who came at me, and I went on the letter writing campaign from hell. I wrote everybody. I wrote the CEO of General Motors as well as the CEO of Santander, and they finally gave up on me because I was so persistent. They just figured he's not coming up with this $205. He just is not gonna. What Miss Duke was saying is absolutely correct. Persistence, because they will sell from one company to the next company to the next company, and you'll pay it 3, 4, 5 times. You have to get in touch with the right people. And she said something very important. Do it old school. Do it old school. Right, sit down. Get those QWERTY fingers rolling. And
my question though, do things like child support payments also follow you around like this?
Oh, they follow you, right?
Oh my goodness. Look, go on, put the pin in your behind and call yourself donkey. Because they're gonna follow you like your tail. You understand?
Yes.
I don't know. I have never had to actually anything with child support payments, so I don't know. I don't know if the rules change where student loans are concerned, but back when I had student loans, it was never on my credit report, and they told me it wouldn't appear on my credit report. But at that time, being ignorant, no, it was not. Trust me, it was not.
No, I'm saying now.
Or now it does.
Yes.
And I knew nothing about interest payments. And when I contacted the whoever was holding that loan and tried to begin making payments, I said, okay, I'm going to pay you $50 a month. I can't remember exactly what it was. And I started paying. I paid $50. Then the next month I paid another $50. And I decided to check the balance. So I'm figuring, well, it went down $100. No. It actually went up. So I called the people and I said, how is it I paid you $100 and it's now $150 more? They said, sir, well, it's the interest.
Yeah.
I said, well, then I'll never pay this off. She said, no, just go ahead and keep paying. Go ahead and keep paying. So once again, Lisa, you seem to be the poor man's attorney in situations like this. What does someone do in a situation like this where they continuously you're trying? You mean good. You have good in your heart. You want to pay people, but you just can't seem. It's like climbing up a muddy hill.
Yeah.
What do you do?
You can, if you would like to sit and do it yourself, you can do so. You would have to continuously write letters to, if it's something in collections, because some people are defaulted on their loans too. And that is definitely something that will follow you as well. But if you wanted to try to do it yourself, it is tedious. But student loans can be removed from your report as well. It may take some time, but it's one of the many items that can be removed. But you have to, one thing I do want to say with not only sending letters, if you make an agreement to pay anything off with any company, you have to keep documentation, because if you know you've settled with company number 1 and company number 5 is now calling you, you have to show that proof that it was paid. So you don't throw it out, keep it somewhere safe, send it to them to show that proof that you did pay it the first go round. Now, it still will remain negative on your report until it's removed, but at least no one else hopefully can come after you because you've shown that proof that it was paid. But as far as the student loans, as far as, all of those other negative items, they can all be removed. It's a matter of how much time you have. And if you're trying to buy a house or something huge that you're trying to do you have that time to invest? A lot of people don't have that time to sit and continually write those letters. It is a tedious task. So the key is knowing that there is help.
This is where you come in.
That's where sometimes when I meet them, they're so already frustrated beyond. I mean, it's stressful being in debt. I think the first thing of admitting that you are in debt and needing help, that's hard for a lot of people to do, because
this sound like Alcohol Anonymous. What you have to do? Get up there.
Yes. Yes. So
Before we run away, Andrea had a comment. She says, "I was told it takes 7 years to be removed." What is this 7-year situation?
Did she say what she was referring to?
I guess it means like information, if it's there.
Negative information.
Yeah, there's some collections usually would be about 7, bankruptcy 10. But for the most part, general collections would be about 7. Some maybe a shorter time frame, but it just depends on the creditor.
You said something very interesting earlier that pertains to this. You can have something that after 7 years is removed. At year 6 and 10 months, they sell it to another collection agency, and guess what? It's on there another 7 years.
Okay.
Yes.
What?
And that's where you need to keep your documentation. Don't be quick to throw everything away, because it can help you down the line, and you don't want to get caught up in that, because they will do it. Yes.
As you say that, I remember a situation. This is some personal. My brother, he used to live in Nashville, Tennessee, and he eventually moved, I believe, to Kentucky. He was paying child support, and we're talking about 20-something years of child support. And when his final payment was made, he got a letter stating that he still owed money. So he went into the office and he asked them. They said, "Oh no, you're missing 3 years of payments." Little did they know he had every single receipt from he started paying child support, and he presented it to them. And they were absolutely shocked that he had all this stuff dating back 20-something years. And they were like, "Well, what am I supposed to do with this?" He said, "Keep it. Go through the receipts and you will see that I paid. Don't worry, I have the original. Those are copies." And he left all the receipts with them. And they told him, "Well, what you need to do is just continue paying until we clear this up." So even the offices, they had zero concern for the fact that he has been paying for 20 years. They wanted an additional 3 years payments until they get their stuff in order. How do you fight against agencies like this? You mentioned something before, going online. Is it a safe thing to go online and be arguing, sending emails back and forth, and where you might even incriminate yourself in situations by owning up to something that you're not responsible for?
For something like that, I would, in that particular situation, I would consult with an attorney, because at that point you need to know what your rights are. Yes, he has the proof, but in order to fight what they're trying to do or hold against him, I would get an attorney's advice as to how to proceed, because I think at that point, that will be the one person that can stop that for you is an attorney, because that is, what they're there for, their job, basically,
Right.
to help in that particular situation. So that's for a case like that, especially with child support and how much it can affect your life in general. When you're doing the right thing, you want to know what your rights are so that you can better stand up for yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Did we lose Curtis for a second?
Apparently.
It seems
They're
like
going in and out here.
all right. Let's see if we can get him back in the mix.
I'm here.
Now Miss Duke, you suggested or you stated earlier that you can go online and keep track at all times of all your credit reports, and it's a free service. Can you mention what that is?
Oh, yes. You can get a free copy at annualcreditreport.com, but you can also go to Credit Karma and Credit Sesame. Those are the ones that show generally what's on your report, and it gives you your scores for free.
Okay.
How close is Credit Karma to the actual report?
They're generally pretty close. The only time that it's a little off would be when you go apply for a mortgage, it's usually a bit off, maybe 20 or so points, if that, but it's not the exact score that you see on those free sites.
But at least it just gives you like a ballpark.
Yes.
What you're working with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I just discovered something, and let me put this in the form of a question. If someone's credit is just so bad that they can't seem to see their way out of it, you want to buy a house, bad credit, high interest rate, and you see that it's not working for you, could you simply, like I mentioned before, hide? Could you run away, let's say, to Canada and get away from everything and start fresh over there? Or is this something that's going to follow you?
I'm not familiar with credit in Canada, so I cannot answer that question. I don't know if American credit works in Canada. So, but if you are in American soil and you are going to need credit to live and survive somehow, unless you're living with a relative that doesn't require any assistance from you at all whatsoever, then you can hide that way.
Because in doing some research, I get to understand that I believe Experian, I'm not sure about the others, they also function in Canada.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess you can't hide.
Is this something that's going to follow you to your neighboring country, and who knows where else they may show up?
At some point, you have to face the music.
They may come for breakfast.
Say that again, Sam.
I said they may come for breakfast.
I just keep showing up. So tell us the secret. Give us the secret sauce. A new term I learned. How do we remedy this situation, Lisa?
Well, what I do is I will usually speak with someone to find out where they are currently, what items they have that are affecting them, whether, and find out what their goals are. So if they may want to buy a house, a car, investment properties, anything like that, they have to want to put that goal in front of them. It has to be something, they have to know why they're, have to have this patience for this process to work. Because a lot of times they think that it's like magic, that it's supposed to be corrected overnight. But, what happened to get you where you are at that moment, it took time. Months, years, however long it took you, you can't expect it to disappear. You would like it to disappear overnight, but it doesn't happen that quickly. So if I can get you to see what your goal is, to remind you of why you're doing this, I can work with you to get those items removed from your credit. So when they enroll in our services and I explain, the process to them, you get a website where you're able to monitor your progress in the system for yourself. So you see starting where you are, the number of items that you have on your report that are derogatory. You see your score, and from first month onwards, every month you can go in and you can see the changes that are happening. And by doing so, every little bit that you get when your scores increase, that's like a small goal to get you to the big goal. So it keeps you focused on why you're doing this. Because when you're in debt, you're frustrated, you're stressed out, and it affects your life, your health, your family. And the key of getting out of debt is you want to have that time to focus on those people that are important to you. I live in Georgia. Georgia is one of the top 10 states with the worst credit. So, a lot of people that I tend to run into, they don't know where to turn. They don't know what to do because they've probably tried a million different things before. They've tried to do it themselves over and over and are not successful. So that's where we can sit and say, okay, what's your plan? What do you want to do? And this is where we can get you. And, as long as they're willing to be patient, they'll see that happening month by month to where their end goal, whatever magic number when I say magic, I mean as far as what score they want to be. Once they get there, then they no longer need to use the service. We also teach how to budget, how to save, how to do like debt pay down, things like that. Those are tools that they also receive to help them once they're at that score that they want to be. They can purchase a home at that point or whatever their goal might have been. Okay, now you have this big debt, how to better pay it down quicker. We have those tools to help teach them how to do that the best way and the shortest period of time.
Okay, so
I know I heard Curtis say. He was asking if you left the country. Remember that most credit companies are international. So, yes, again, put that donkey tail back on and break. Because you're going to carry that like baggage for the rest of your days. You can go to Canada. You can go to Trinidad. Go and try and buy something. It doesn't matter where you are. Almost all credit companies are international. I'll give you an example. If you bought something you're in Florida, like I am, from Rooms to Go, that's a Florida company. The bank that they deal with, who gives you the loan, is Wells Fargo, which is Lloyd's of London. You can't run. You can't hide. They got your picture front and back. So if you think that, I don't have to worry about this. Here's the key. Depends who they sell the debt to. Debt, or what is known as a receivable in accounting terms, can be sold. Let's say you borrow $100 from me, okay? And I'm calling you up asking you for this $100. You ain't answering the phone. I want to recover something. So I will sell it to a company for $70. For $70. I get $70. You owe me $100. At least I got $70 out of it. Now, the collection company is going to put resource in and trust and believe they're going to get 110 out of you.
Yeah.
And they continually sell the receivable from company to company. And your debt, you may have started out on $100, but go on, run and hide. Wait 10 years. You owe 500. Trust and believe that.
Yeah.
Okay, they sell the receivable to each other. There's nowhere in the world, perhaps Syria right now, because everything is blown up, that they can't find you. And even in your blown up house with the crooked mailbox, you go in there and you see something from experience telling you that you owe $110. You can't run. So never get in your mind that you can.
Okay, I understood. You had some other things, areas you wanted to delve into, Lisa. Could you go ahead with that?
I wanted to just give some statistics on, the number of, like I mentioned, I am in Georgia. I am in one of the states, the top 10 for bad credit or worse credit. And we have, or I should say, there are about 1.057 trillion people that are in credit card debt, and also about 43 million that have a score of 599 or less. These are things that we want to educate as many people as possible to get those, to educate, to change those numbers, that type of situation. And as we were talking before, where we were talking about educating children at a young age, whether it be at home or at school, it's spreading the word, even as adults, when we meet other adults or in general conversation, to where we can each one teach one. You may have an opportunity to share your own financial knowledge with someone and, change their outlook on what credit is or how to better manage it. But that is a part of, the lessons that we are trying to spread as much as possible, how important it is to have better credit, even if you have decent credit, to make that decent credit a better score, to be able to feel a little more financially free, to where you have more buying power, where you are able to do more for yourself and your family. Because I'll say for myself, my family, we didn't come from much. And when I came to America, I too had to learn about how to better handle credit. It didn't always happen the right way, and I had to learn from my mistakes. So that's where, for me, I had to teach my children not to use credit the way that I did. And it took me a while to learn it. You bump your head a few times, too many, but I wanted to make sure that I set them in the right path, and it would be up to them if they listened or not. But now that you've taught your kids, who else can you tell? Whether it's church, whether it's any organization that you're a part of, family, friends, you do want to share the knowledge that you have. So when I sit and speak with any of my clients, I want to know, what is your goal? Why do you want to get better credit? What are you trying to do? Some is because they've never learned it, just like we were talking about before. And so, once we set that plan in place, we can teach them how to do so by saving, by, teaching the debt down payment program, how they can better handle their debt, pay it down quicker. If you, instead of paying a house off in 30 years, why not do it maybe in 11 if you can, or less, depending on your income and things like that. So we want to teach as many people as we can to live a better financial life. Because the saying is, better your credit, better your life, because so much of what we do relies on a score. And if you can get a better score, you won't need a cosigner. You can qualify to purchase things as a house, cars, any other items that you choose, but you will not need someone else to do so.
Mm-hmm.
Good night, Lucy. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining us, Lucy. So, Sam, was that it for the slides, or you have more stuff that you want to get into?
I think that was it. I mean, we got what she said in reference to the slides, sort of in the aggregate of the show tonight. So a couple of what some of the information she shared tonight was actually so I just sort of did the slides as a little recap as she was making her points there. But this is I think this was some good information. I learned a lot. This was really good for my brain. A good review. Good review for me. I like the part where you spoke about having your own experience, Lisa, because when I came in the 80s here, I got sucked in. And so I was able to at least relate to my daughters, hey, you know what, this thing here is a serious situation. Daddy thought it was a joke, but for me, I had to let them know that it was serious. But I'm not an expert on it, so there's a good chance I should be reaching out to you to probably get some more some information and some assistance. You look like the person that will handle those people really well. What do you think, guys? She look like she have the look that will handle people very well.
She looked like she hurt them.
So let me ask you something before you leave us here. Let me ask you something, Lisa. Tax season is it upon us? It's here. It's tax time.
Yes.
Very soon, most of us will be getting a handsome refund, hopefully. Right along with that stimulus check. Is it a wise decision for us to just run along and start paying off credit card bills simply because you have the money? Or is it a good thing to let some debt linger and not just pay it off as soon as it comes?
You want to take a look at what you do have. You want to write every debt down, the amounts, and I would say don't use your stimulus to pay off collection items because it's already negative on your report. That's not going to change. The key is to get it removed. So you can pay your debt, yes, but if it's collections, you don't want to use your stimulus money to pay collections because one of two things will happen. It'll still be there or they'll sell it and another company will be calling you. So you can pay your debt, yes, to answer your question. You can pay your debt. You can also use your stimulus to start a small business, create an investment for yourself so that you have those tax benefits that you can get from starting a business. So they're different things, but I would say definitely do not pay your collections.
Do not pay your collections. Remember, I'm telling them you say.
Yes. Yeah, sure. Because
that's not an advice you're giving us there now. I'm going to tell them Miss Lisa Duke told me not to pay.
Yeah, it's already in collections. That won't change.
All right. So before you leave us, Lisa, drop a few pearls of wisdom and tell the people where they can find you if we should need your services, which I do think a lot of people do because it's from what you say, it's not a wise thing to go on there and argue about stuff that you don't understand or paying off stuff that you don't understand on the credit report. So sometimes we need help in understanding what is really going on. Tell the people where it is they can find you and leave us all here with, talk to me like I'm a 18-year-old now getting into the game and give me some advice where I should go from this point on.
Okay. I can be found on Facebook at Lisa Duke Credit. And I'm also on Instagram as well. And I would say, as far as your credit is concerned, you have to know what is on your report. You have to, if you don't know, you need to sit down and look at each item and see if it is yours. You have to be able to, if you don't know, call the number if there's a number listed. You want to be able to have a story. Your credit report should reflect who you truly are. If you have items on there that you may need removed to better yourself, that in turn betters your life, that in turn betters your health, your family's life, things like that. And in turn, you have less stress. You feel better about your whole financial self, and I think good credit, you open up your possibilities for yourself. So you want to look and remain positive even on days that you don't, because at that point you tend to not feel the best about yourself. But knowing what is on your credit is very important, and that will be the first thing to lead you on that path to a better financial future.
Tell the people, Lisa Duke, where they can find you once again.
On Facebook at Lisa Duke Credit.
On Facebook at Lisa Duke Credit. That's LISADUKE Credit. Lisa Duke Credit on Facebook. Is there a telephone number that anyone can contact you?
Yes, 770-280-8769.
Please repeat the number.
770-280-8769.
Once again, Lisa Duke, thank you so much for joining us on the panel this evening. Your information, your advice is priceless.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you once again, Lisa.
Thank you.